Congratulations, Dustin Harris. You're winning this Spider-Gwen #1 J. Scott Campbell variant. Stay tuned. We got more giveaways in this video. What's good, comic fam? I'm your host, Comic Tom, broadcasting through the powers of the internet from somewhere on Spaceship Earth. And I'm sitting here with the Overstreet Press Guide advisor. We have Russ, the comic book sensei. How you feeling?
I'm all right. Hey, guys.
Yo, we got a hot list. And you know what? This right here feels like something I was expecting maybe when comics came back on the scene post-pandemic diamond shutdown, because there are so many comic books that just came out that are on this list.
Yeah, there's a lot of books that have a release date of this week that made the list this week, so
let's get into it. But hit the subscribe button. We make this video every single Saturday for the comic book community. And let's start this trending comics list at number 10.
We have the San Diego Comic-Con foil variant of Batman 92, this art germ cover.
Yo, this is the cover that back when Punchline was being teased, we were getting spoilers and panel shots. We had this cover shown really early, and I think it kind of personified her first appearance in a variant that came later.
Tom called me about this being on the list, and I said, man, I love art germ, but I really hate this cover.
Russ doesn't like this. And at first I was like, what do you mean you don't like this? But then I started thinking about other art germ covers that I think about often. You know, that Batman 42 homage.
The Catwoman 12, that fantastic homage to Batman number 42 with the cover peeling back. It's literally the same color scheme. And for some reason, when you have the Punchline with these pastel colors, it just doesn't work as well as the Catwoman. A lot of the art germ covers you see out there kind of have this softness to them. If you look at like a lot of the Batgirl covers he was doing, Batgirl 12 is a fantastic example. It just kind of has a warmth to it that is missing from this Punchline cover for me.
The foil cover is popping for $40 average sales post San Diego Comic-Con. And I think this cover has personified Punchline's first appearance the most, because there was such a ruckus of her first appearance coming out. And this was the title that we were looking at in anticipation. What do you think, comic fam? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. And let's chat about some huge news, man. Number 9 on the list. Was not expecting this to happen this week, but Idris Elba, did he just let us know the spec that we've been trying to figure out for over a year? And no one's talking about it.
Number 9 in the list, we have Richard Dragon Kung Fu Fighter #1, which is the first appearance of the guy that turns into Bronze Tiger.
Happy birthday, James Gunn.
So this is even more interesting. The Suicide Squad crew left James Gunn a happy birthday message over on Twitter. And about the 5th person in, right after you see John Cena playing the video games, you have Idris Elba growling happy birthday.
Now, this could be a couple things. I'll be real, comic fam. Could it be Bronze Tiger? Because that's definitely a tiger voiceover that he did. However, I'll remind everybody, maybe the spec's going to move. He did do the voice of the tiger in the Jungle Book.
Ugly. They've given it a name.
Okay, so we have been talking about this book for quite some time now, and it was speculation about whether he was going to be this guy or whether he was going to be Vigilante or what was going to happen, and then there was more speculation because you had Bruce Timm talking about a Batman animated that could potentially have Bronze Tiger coming into it, but what we do know is this book is up 200% this week, and we have a 9.6 recent sale for $259. Compare that to a little over a month ago when the 9.8s were selling for $480. Everything's moving up accordingly, but I just think people aren't willing to sell their 9.8s right now because they want to see where this is actually going.
Book that's selling at $45 average right now.
Tom, you know it wouldn't be an appropriate list if we didn't have something related to Donny Cates and what Donny Cates thinks.
That's right. Sir Cates making the list. Kind of. We have Ultimates issue #2 featuring the first new form of Galactus, the Lifebringer. Yes, this was kind of a fun transition that this character made in the Ultimate run, courtesy of Al Ewing. And this tells the tale of a different version of Galactus. And this is a character, really, you know, now I'm kind of thinking about it, not a whole lot of stuff has been done with this guy.
No, not really.
I mean, he's so powerful and he has such a big story that he's just been this giant near, you can kind of call him a god type of character, eating planets, right? Well, Al Ewing decided, hey, I'm going to kind of change some stuff and give him the opposite role, like call him the life bringer and make him an essential part of the universe that he has to like protect. And I don't know, it's a different version of Galactus. And we were chatting about Galactus's secret origin just last month because Donny Cates has kind of took a retcon and then further retconned it, also known as goldballing it. And we were looking at this special, and at the very, very end of it, there's something that's very important that Galactus says. For no matter how many worlds I devour, how many civilizations I destroy, it is my destiny to one day give back to the universe infinitely, more than I have ever taken from it. So speaks Galactus. So speculators are thinking, could something be going on with Galactus? We know Black Winter is here to cause some trouble, but he's not so much focused on, dealing with the universe. No, he's saying that he's here to claim his Herald of Galactus. Now, personally, I don't think this spec is too strong because Donny Cates has been very clear that this story is going to get dark. It's going to get violent. Our heroes are not prepared for any of this. No. I expect more death than a once kind of scary being to like revert to a happy character.
Whatever ends up happening with Galactus, we do know that this book is up 1,750% over last week's copies sold. These are going for an average price of $20 with a high raw sale of $40, but we are also seeing massive highs for the second print right now. Those are consistently going for $125 and higher in 9.8.
Will Galactus make some type of transition with Null coming and the Black Winter involved? We're going to have to wait to see. However, this cover is gorgeous and one that I know I've passed in dollar bins. So it's definitely out there, and these are some major gains, so get to hunting.
Number 7 on the list, it seems like every week we have another 90s kids book.
It's better than bad, man.
It's good. Ren and Stimpy, number 1, with the air fouler sealed in the bag. I mean, this book at the point in time that it came out, it just felt so meta. It was like Ren and Stimpy making fun of the fact that the comic book industry had these people who had inserts and they had the polybag stuff and all of these other things. And all of a sudden, this book is popular again.
That's right. This comic was in a bag because it had to be. For one, because there's a lot of comics come out in bags, as you said,
sure,
but because they put an air fouler in it. This is hilarious because our comic dealers know what we're talking about right now, man. You can't have this comic book in your box.
No,
it stinks, dude.
It really, really does. I think the idea was to make the air fouler smell like kitty litter. And if you have a couple of these in a box, even with the bag sealed, your short box will smell awful. So you actually can't keep this by the rest of your comics.
Ren and Stimpy number 1 is on the list because we have word that Comedy Central has added this to like a lineup of shows that they're bringing back to the screen. And this comic book has seen some gains. It's the first time they appear in a comic in their own solo title. And it's a $12 average sale. 9.8 of this book, it's kind of hard to pinpoint because it's so early, but it's like $50 to $60 for a 9.8. But I think the real attention needs to be given to the fact that they didn't just stop at it being in a bag. Mm-hmm. No, because it says that there's a secret message, which is why you need to open the bag. What was that secret message on cover A?
The secret message is, you idiot, you opened the bag and now the comic's worthless.
It's so good, man. But they didn't stop there because they put out a second print. And what did that second print say?
The second print says, you idiot, this is a second print, it's worthless.
Same with the third print. They
Amazing.
are just poking fun at collectors back in the 90s. But you know what? We have been saying this for the last really 5 months. Mm-hmm. But every month that goes by, more and more proof. 2020 is the year of the newsstands and the printings, like multiple printings that are being collected. And there's a lot to keep up with. And I encourage the community to download Key Collector Comics, the best comic book collecting app that exists on both iPhones and Androids. And if you use code TOM101, you unlock a free 1-week subscription and support the show. And speaking of second prints, why don't we bring Sir Cates back on the list?
Sir Cates does deserve to come back on the list because of a book that came out this week. Number 6 on the list, we have Thor number 4, the second print.
Russ, I think clearly Marvel is onto something here by providing the community alternative covers to the cover A, different to their competitor DC Comics. This $18 average sale is happening really quick just after release because it is a cameo of the Black Winter. And this is a major villain spec in the Sir Kate's mythos.
Now, if you like this book, you have to keep your eye out for the third print, which is coming out September 9th. As of the time that Tom and I are recording this, I could not find what the photo is, but you know Marvel's going to make it something hot that's going to make the book spike.
Number 5 on this list. Oh, dude, TMNT coming right on here with the cover that I'm surprised even got approved. We have issue 104. The 1 in 10 variant, showing a turtle on the cover with all the weapons of his brothers.
Well, this again very much feels like we are alluding to The Last Ronin. You have a Ninja Turtle who has all of the weapons, which who else could it be?
This 1 in 10 by Ken Gehring is going for an average sale of $15 just before we're chatting about this today, right now, Comic Fam. Because I'm seeing a $100 high for this book within the last hour of us filming this. And now we're seeing these listed for $150 to $200. Does the spec make sense? Absolutely. This is a strange thing. I'll tell the community that I happen to know the process of how you get a TMNT cover approved.
Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna leave it at that. All right. And basically what I know is that it's too close to this other series. It's either they all knew about it and they're getting a chuckle over there, or they are trying to allude to something. And that's all people need because The Last Ronin looks so damn good. But I don't know that this is a book that's going to maintain value because what people are actually speccing on isn't a new character. This is more similar to the Immortal Hulk situation where it's the same Hulk. This is the same turtle.
Right.
If you want the first appearance of the turtle, go get yourself a TMNT number 1, probably a 4th print. But could this moment in this turtle's history, the omega of this turtle, lead to a new moment that now is defined as a key moment for the run in its entirety? Maybe. But a lot of members are also speculating that this may be Raphael, right? He's got the red bandana on, right? It's Raphael.
You absolutely have to go to the Alpha where all of them were wearing the red bandanas at that point in time.
The Mirage days. And it makes sense because Peter and Kevin, they're back on this title. Now, Russ, this is what I'm hoping for. This is spec that I think people should be considering. But I'm not seeing it out there because everyone wants to know who The Last Ronin is. That's the marketing. That's the drive, right? I think the mark of a comic book run that could be as epic as this one could only reach its pinnacle if we never find out who it is.
I absolutely agree, Tom, and I think that would be a very Frank Miller-like
Right?
ending for this. Totally. No, that's what I want.
Oh my goodness. Comic Fam, what do you think? Who do you think is The Last Ronin? Will we even find out? Ooh, a lot of people are gonna get mad.
Right?
Almost as mad as they'd get if, I don't know, they made it Jenica or something. I don't think that's gonna happen though. What do we got at number 4? Because Miles Morales can't stay off this list.
Absolutely. Number 4 on the list, we have Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man number 1, the 1 in 50 Fiona Staples variant. This book has been moving quickly, and if you want to hear more about Miles Morales, you should check out the Hot 10 with Tom and Gem Mint that's released on Friday.
Dude, this book has doubled in price in 7 days, and it's an expensive book.
It is really, really crazy. So Raws we're seeing sell for $450, but there was a high sale just a couple days ago of $2,200 and $2,100. There's also a buy it now that said $2,999. That is crazy. If you look at 2 weeks ago even, this book was in the $1,000 range.
At 9.8, these prices are staggering, and clearly collectors are still eyeing any Miles Morales potential keys that they can get their hands on because so many of them are getting scooped up by the community.
Another great Spider-Man book coming in at number 3, Amazing Spider-Man 375.
The comic fam knows this book. This is the gold foil. Eddie Brock basically goes anti-hero for the first time here. It's the Venom Lethal Protector prequel before it goes to San Francisco. 460% increase in copies sold, $10 average sales with a $150 high at 9.8.
Hey, Tom, you think this needs a light spoiler warning?
I'm calling some light spoiler talk right now, so be weary, but I'm not going to give anything away because some information from Venom 27 was released, giving more credibility, more credence to the Anne Weying spec, Eddie Brock's wife and mother to Dylan Brock.
So we have to keep in mind that even though this is a massively high print run on this book, that gold foil does have a tendency to kind of deteriorate. So if you're picking up a raw copy of this book in person, look at the foil. You will notice that up by the corners, there's just kind of like a weird, like the foil just actually does deteriorate a little bit, especially if you're buying online. Same thing. Be careful. There are a lot of these out there that just don't present well.
Which makes sense why we have kind of a staggering high sale at 9.8 of $155 with an average sale of this book at a low $10.
Yeah, the high grade ones are definitely going to be tougher to find.
Well, it moved up 460% after this spoiler for this next issue surfaced. Let's see where that ends up next week.
Another book on this list that came out this week, number 2, Ice Cream Man number 20, the Dr. Seuss cover.
Dude, I recommend this comic book. Go and add Ice Cream Man to your pull list if you dig dark horror stories. How long has this been on my pull list, Russ?
Oh, absolutely. Since the very beginning. And this is one of those books that I always tell people about. No one ever picks it up until too late. I have people calling my shop every single time a new issue, not even when there's an homage or a special variant cover coming out. People consistently are behind on this book. Just add it to your pull. It's good. It's a horror anthology series that people should all be reading.
All the places you'll go. I mean, come on. This is going to be a great book for you to dive into.
If you look back, there was number 8 where you had kind of the clown in the coffin. That's still selling consistently $50-$60 for a 9.8. The Raws of the B cover of number 2 are selling for $40 right now. But even keep in mind that number 17, the A cover, was the Confection Comics, the Action Comics number 1 homage. So even if you're not reading it, the cover game on this book is consistently good and fun. It's always beautiful. Even if you're not buying it to spec and make any money on, do it to read it. Read the comic.
And not to mention, we do know a second print of this issue's coming out, and they're going to continue it. At least we know this one time with another Dr. Seuss homage, which is pretty dope to me. I added it to my pull list.
And if you like hot covers and cool comic books, you have got to check out the Mystery Mail Call. We have 9 more days for you to sign up for this amazing Valerio Giangiordano Maestro cover.
Our opportunity to hook the fam up with the best comic books that we can. And then you also help support what we do. And we really appreciate it. We love doing what we do here at the table every single week. And you make it possible. And we thank you for it. Let's chat about number 1 on this list for us, because holy smokes, there's a lot of disappointment. There's a lot of people who are stoked about the story, but there's a lot of people mad too. And there's a lot of people that I think need to be informed on what's actually going on, because this narrative is not coming up enough.
This is the 3rd book this week that came out this week. So we are talking about Dark Knight's Death Metal, Legends of the Dark Knight number 1.
The 1 in 25 variant, featuring on the interior, yes, the first appearance of the Robin King, but also on this variant cover, marking it as the most coveted first appearance of this new character. Sadistic.
Oh, yes. No, we have an evil Bruce Wayne that killed his parents and killed Alfred. I mean, this is really, really an interesting storyline. And as a Bat fan, I'm totally interested. I think this is great, and I love that they're going different directions with this, but I'm really mad at DC how they handled this and handled the release schedule on this.
Let's chat about prices. So this book on average is hitting $190 for 1 in 25. That's awesome. That's big. That means people care, right? That's a big gains for 1 in 25.
You're right, Tom, except you have to consider that 2 weeks ago, these were pre-selling at $350. So some people were trying to buy this book ahead of the game for twice what they're currently going for.
Real talk. The speculation game, buying comics, there are some risks. And every collector that's going into this, dropping $350 on this comic, they knew the risks. And I'm seeing right now something that you would kind of expect when a spec kind of fails. Because if someone lost $150 in 7 days, I call that a pretty harsh fail. You can get a pretty dope key from the Bronze Age, heck, from the Silver Age for that amount of money. And that's what you're hearing. You're hearing a lot of that kind of negative talk. Yes, there is risk when it comes to spec. But if we just focus on only the failure of the spec, we're not talking about what actually happened.
They let us know on the 14th of July, Robin King's coming out in this book. They released the covers, they released the cover art, they released all of this stuff. They had this awesome 1 in 25, and I started getting people left and right saying, I want to order this. Get me 5 copies of this. Get me the variant cover. Get me all of this. The final order cutoff for this book was July 13th.
Unacceptable.
A day before they let people know when this book comes out. They pulled this same BS with the punchline stuff, and the Hellerisen. DC isn't giving the shops enough time to order them. And the only people making money are the shops who are deciding to hold back their 1 in 25s and pre-sell them for $350 on eBay. So I ordered 19 copies of this book. I got 9. Not quite certain where the disconnect is, but I already have unhappy customers that did pre-order it that can't get it. And then in addition to that, we have a bunch of people who asked for it in the 3-week window that they should have been able to order comics. But since I couldn't guarantee that there were more comics coming from DC, I had to tell them, no, I'm sorry, I can't pre-order that for you. The biggest kicker, the second print variant of this book went on final order cutoff August 2nd, a full 48 hours before DC is supposed to release the first print of this book. Now, they knew demand was high, but we don't know how high. So I can't even get my second print orders in before I know how many first print ones I don't have and how many people want second print. DC, this is shenanigans. This is not cool. And honestly, I know we get ragged on all the time about people talking about spec and whatever Tom and I are doing, but this is something behind the scenes that DC is actively doing with their customers, with their new characters, with their books, and we're already dealing with difficulty right now between ordering from them and Lunar not shipping weird and UCS shipping weird and people in the industry having issues with DC. We don't need DC messing with final order cutoffs or doing something where they leak a book and it's popular after we can order more. You know what? I would have loved to have ordered 100 copies of this book to sell at cover price to my customers. The demand is so high, a shop can make a little bit of profit on cover price. I don't need to sell these at $20 a piece for a main cover and $300 for a variant cover. I'm not in it to make money on the speculation. I want happy customers, and DC is not helping with that.
More than meets the eye, comic fam. So before you start casting a stone at your fellow members, find out what's actually going on. And as always,
Geek responsibly.
Enough said. You want to know something I freaking hate, comic fam? When hooligans break into comic shops, especially when it's in our own house. We're safe. Our comics are safe. They didn't get a dime from us. But we do have a shirt you can buy to help support us. All proceeds are going to go to help add some more security to our operation. We want to keep your comics safe. And if you want to help support what we do, you can get this Support Your Local Comic Shop shirt. And we're only going to have it available for about a week. It's going to be a limited time because this is the only time we're going to be releasing this shirt in the Mill Geek colors. Geek responsibly, comic fam.